It's June 13th, 2012. Today I am joined by Laura, who's back from her trip to Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. Previously, I had referred to it as a whirlwind tour of the Northeast Corridor, but there were no whirlwinds, it was not a tour, and we don't even know what the Northeast Corridor is. So, while I was slouching miserably around this hellhole, grilling fishes and roasting ducks, Laura was living in the lap of luxury with a bunch of medical research clowns.
Hey, don't call them clowns.
In a bunch of
respect.
In a bunch of hotels, meeting rooms, restaurants, convention centers, and the entire Air and Space Museum, which this organization commandeered and
the whole of Saturday night. It was amazing.
And partied their pants off in. So, you know.
Pants stayed on.
I hope so. I hope so. You gotta leave, gotta leave more. The place is just full of air and space. You gotta leave lots of room for the air and space. Otherwise, what is there to look at in that place? A bunch of spaceships.
Duct tape, cardboard.
A bunch of tin cans, and a bunch of, space junk that has fallen back to Earth.
Aluminum foil. Moon rocks.
So, Laura spent 2 nights in each place.
Mm-hmm.
2 nights, Friday and Saturday night in Washington, D.C., and then Sunday and Monday night in Philadelphia. So, let's take it bit by bit. On Friday.
Yeah.
What'd you do on Friday in D.C.?
We arrived at about 11 o'clock in the morning at the hotel. I had some free time before I had to start my work duties, so I went on a small walking tour. We were in a hotel on Connecticut Avenue, so I took a short walk. I had to map it all out very carefully in detailed fashion before I left the hotel so that I wouldn't get lost. Because, as many of you may know, Washington, D.C. has no straight streets. So I walked down Connecticut Avenue, found DuPont Circle, went around the circle, and then came back. So that was a big trek for me, actually, and I was proud of myself for not getting lost. But I stopped in some shops on the way, bought some books, had a burrito. It was very nice. I didn't get mugged, didn't get stabbed or anything like that, so that was a success.
Very good. And this was around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
yes.
So...
Yes,
so.
On a Friday. So. And then that evening, of course, I had to do some work to help prepare for the meeting. And then we had another meeting which ended with some champagne, and then we went back to the hotel for bed because we had to get up early the next morning for more work.
She texted me. This was a highly non-alcoholic evening. 1 glass of champagne, and then other than that,
we were still working.
A dry evening, which is what a huge drag.
It was the night before the really big meeting, so you had to be careful.
So that was not when they rented out the Air and Space.
No,
this was Friday.
That was Saturday night.
That was Saturday.
So, all day Saturday we had a very busy and highly stressful and very hair-pulling type experience. The meeting itself went very well. But those of us who are behind the scenes were having a great time, and we went to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, or whatever the hell it's called, in the evening for the gala, and that was a nice time. Everyone got dressed up in their dressy cocktail dresses and their suits, and we did some dancing, did some eating, did a little bit of drinking. It was a nice time. It's a very nice time. You should cut out that drinking part. I don't want to tell anyone I was drinking with
Laura was drinking. She drank a lot. She drank vast quantities, and she drank them in the wrong order.
No.
And woke up on Sunday morning with an apocalyptic hangover, and then had to take Amtrak, which was delayed by 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There was a electrical outage somewhere in Maryland.
You know my trip better than I do.
Laura texted me that the train is delayed. We've been sitting here on the train for 3 hours, and I go to Twitter and check out Amtrak's Twitter, and Amtrak, some poor sucker on the Amtrak Twitter account is posting updates about how an electrical cable has come loose on a bridge in Maryland, and so all train routes between DC and Philadelphia are disrupted for hours and hours, and nobody has any information whatsoever.
The worst part, of course, of this very long wait was that we were in the quiet car, which meant that you know, they came up and down the aisles telling us to shush. But we just kept talking anyways. It was a pretty full train by the time we were on our way to Philadelphia, and we couldn't move because someone very clever had chosen the quiet car in hopes of keeping us quiet. But it didn't work. We just kept talking.
Was the dining car open?
Yes, it was.
How about the bar car?
That opened around 11 o'clock, so it wasn't open when we got on the train at 9 o'clock, but it was open when we were waiting, but I was not in a position to start drinking.
So eventually, she got to Philadelphia 3 hours late.
Yep.
Which caused 4 hours late, which caused havoc for some people, but not really for Laura.
No, it was a travel day. We had a few things we needed to get done during that afternoon, but no real harm done.
So she missed seeing the Liberty Bell.
I didn't miss it. I just didn't go.
Right. Okay, so then what did you do on Sunday night?
Sunday night. We went out to a gourmet Mexican restaurant. You told me the name and I just keep forgetting it.
Distracto.
Distorto. I don't know. Distrito, thank you, whatever.
Discreto.
It was a word that people never say, and so I cannot pronounce it. But it was, you know, fancy Mexican restaurant. It was good. Had guacamole with crab in it, which doesn't sound good, but it was delicious. It was very good. Had some little tacos. Had a mango margarita. All good.
And then Monday was the wrap-up day, right?
No, Monday was the big meeting day, the second big meeting day. There was one big meeting.
Well, that's what I mean. You wrapped it up. You had the you announced the study results to the public.
Yeah, but that's not what you call a wrap-up. That's called let's finally make this shit public, baby.
She's sorry she said shit.
Sorry about that. And nobody said that out loud. That was just in my head. Nobody says that at my workplace. We're all very professional and respectful of each other. But that was the day of the study results being presented. Big conference. There was a giant conference hall with about 6,000 people, with another couple thousand people outside the doors who couldn't get in. So it was sort of a big deal at the conference. I was right there in the second row in front of the speakers. It was very nice to be present for that.
Laura was one of the people behind the scenes who makes things work. She wasn't in front of the cameras. She wasn't high profile.
I was the support staff.
She was support staff, but it all would have collapsed into a heap of ruins, or perhaps a ruin of heaps, if she had not done her part.
Oh yeah, they would have. Oh yeah, the whole thing would not have worked without me. I was really very instrumental in making it all happen. Oh yeah, that was sarcasm. And
they repaid their and they showed their gratitude by forcing her to go home on a 7 a.m. flight Tuesday morning.
From the Philadelphia airport. And if any of you have been at the Philadelphia airport lately, not fun. Those security lines, even at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's still a zoo, and it makes you feel like crap. And without breakfast, without coffee, it was pretty brutal. So we landed in Toronto around 8:30. And of course, that airport was smooth. You know, we got our baggage in no time. We went through customs in no time. I got home in no time, just in time to go back to work, of course. So I was back in at work yesterday, but rather zombie-like.
Well, let's not forget, after you got home from work last night, you just passed out for many hours.
I did. I got home around 4:30. I fell asleep for 3 hours. I got up, had some dinner, and then I went back to sleep for 8 hours. And I still have some more in the bank to spend tonight, I think. Is it bedtime yet?
It is bedtime.
Sweet.
This has been Travels with Laura. Tune in next time when she journeys to the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, my next trip is Munich.
Munich,
Maybe.
Germany. And next time I'll tell her to take the camera on her trip to Singapore.
No, we're going to Philadelphia at the end of the month again. Looking forward to that one.
It's so difficult to keep track of all our jet setting lifestyle.
So busy. So important.